All right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back in. I am the titular Adam, and I appreciate you sticking around and continuing on this journey with me. So at the very beginning here, I want to cut to a quick note that I made in the car the other day, right after getting out of rehab. All right, so I got out of physical therapy today and realized something really interesting. Although the damage is done to ostensibly my elbow and a tendon that runs up the outside of my forearm, we spent all of the time working on lengthening the bicep because it contracted during the healing process, and then working on scapular retractions and deltoid activation. Again, because those are muscles that don't get used while I'm healing the part that was actually injured. That's an interesting lesson. And in fact, it's grown a little bit since then. So I talked about lengthening the bicep and activating the scapular muscles because those are things that wither while I'm healing from the actual injury. And we've started adding to that. So I am doing a little bit of work firing the bicep, the tricep, and all three deltoids, the three heads of your deltoids, front deltoids, side deltoids, and rear deltoids. I'm sure there are more scientific words for those. Posterior deltoids. Anyway, so working on those muscles is important because when you have your arm in a sling at a right angle and neutral palm angle for 2 weeks, and then get out of that and still have pretty limited mobility, all of those muscles suffer as a side effect of the primary, not even damage, but of the surgery done to repair the primary damage. So in a physical sense, what we're talking about is having to make sure that we're caring for all of the musculature around the point where the trauma actually happened, right? And that's called peripheral firing. We want to fire the peripheral muscles. And that got me thinking about the trauma, primarily the trauma of the Spartan race that I'm trying to work through. But really any trauma. I think the tendency is to focus on trying to heal the exact damage that gets done. And that healing is necessary, but we often don't pay very much attention to that peripheral firing. And I got to thinking about, very small traumas. If I have a fight with my wife, my initial reaction is, how do I try, as soon as I kind of begin to calm down, how do I go re-engage in a conversation and fix whatever the thing was that we were talking about? But oftentimes that's not the best approach, right? Because maybe she's not ready to talk about it. Or maybe even though I think I'm ready to talk about it, I'm not actually ready to talk about it yet. So sometimes I'll find something small I can do around the house. Like maybe I just go do the dishes. Or maybe I fold a little bit of laundry. And I'm not doing that to try and signal that, look, I'm doing something right. I'm doing that because I know that firing those peripheral muscles, right? Doing something that I normally do because I care helps remind me that I care and helps lay the groundwork for us to fix the little thing that bothered us. I do the same thing with the kids. Like say I lose my temper and I shout at somebody when I know that I shouldn't have. Well, I don't have to necessarily. It is important to go apologize, but it's also important to fire those peripheral muscles and show maybe we can go on a short, fun adventure together. Maybe I take you for a walk so we can start to get in the groove of having that conversation where I say that I'm sorry. Physical trauma is not the only trauma we suffer. And maybe firing our muscular skeletal peripheral muscles is not the only set of muscles we need to fire. Anyway, I don't really have a point that I'm making on that so much as I hope you think about it, just like I'm thinking about it. And it does lead me into a short adventure I want to take you on. Don't worry, it's not terribly exciting. I thought, because sometimes you can't pay attention to the primary wound for a while, I would lead you through some of the ancillary things that I'm doing to prepare my system to heal. So I normally take a few supplements in my daily routine, but I definitely substantially upped the number of supplements and the kinds of supplements that I'm taking while I'm trying to heal a ligamentous injury, while I'm trying to heal that tendon. So let's go take a look at some of the things that I've started taking in order to speed along this healing. All right, so I'm almost embarrassed to talk about some of this, but again, these are not the normal supplements that I take all the time. These are my healing program supplements. So let's start off with pills. So I take every day D3 plus K2, meant to support immune and bone health. I take a magnesium glycinate gummy. I take turmeric to help with inflammation, fish oil for omega-3s, and a daily multivitamin for a little bit of everything. So those are pills and a gummy that I take every day. And then I also build a smoothie. Smoothie goes in this jar, and I start with a base of 2/3 of a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt. This is the Kroger brand. Often I get the Costco brand. But that's just what I have in the fridge right now. And then I add to that some functional mushroom supplements. This one's from Host Defense. A little bit of fiber, because fiber is always good. Creatine. Again, I don't care about any of these brands, but you do want something that's 100% creatine rather than creatine with caffeine or any other garbage in it. Bunch of whey, because protein is good and protein helps with basically everything. And then I've started adding collagen peptides. These actually also have protein in them, so I've kind of started to do like a half dose of protein if I'm doing these. But the collagen helps with a lot of skin, hair, bone, and joint support. Hey, joint support, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then in addition to all those things, I throw in a tablespoon of chia seeds, because they have all sorts of minerals that are great for you. And some rolled oats. These just happen to be the Costco rolled oats. It doesn't really matter where you get them. So put all those together, put in a little bit of frozen fruit, and then get the old stick blender, blend them up, and put that down. It's about 500 calories altogether, and ends up being an extremely nutritious meal. I don't know if I need all those nutrients, but they're all in there. All right, so those are my supplements. For better or for worse, that's what I take. Not every day, but probably 5 days a week. Sometimes I skip a weekend, or if I'm really busy, I just go to work. Maybe some of those are right, maybe some of them are wrong. If you have experience with any of those supplements and you think that they're great or they're terrible, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your opinions about them or your experience with them. That's about all I have today. Again, I appreciate you continuing this journey with me, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more content.